She silences the phone. No observations. She turns away, then checks the screen again, then pockets it. I stand near her, then look at my hands, then wait. Birthday dinner, long table, everyone talking over each other. She lifted her phone and said her phone died. I slid mine across the runner. Use mine. She waved it off, said she had it handled, and pulled a fast charger from her bag. The tag on the cord read Forge Hub in block letters. A valet stub was clipped into her strap. Yesterday's date. Riverfront printed in small type. I turned the tag with one finger casual. She watched my hand, not the cake. Our friend leaned in, grinning. You live at Riverfront now? She laughed too fast, said just a favor. Her grin set, then slipped a millimeter when I let the charger sit where everyone could see it. I told the server I'd take the bill. He set it by my elbow. She glanced at the stub, then at me, then at the room. The table kept the joke running. I didn't add to it. I told the table we'd swing by that block tomorrow, light tone, like picking coffee. She blinked once. Someone asked what's there. Curiosity, I said. She reached to tuck the charger away. I didn't stop her. I'd already logged the logo, the stub, the timing. She said no need to plan around me. I said I already am. Her friends went quiet enough to hear the music. The server poured water. I signed, slid the folder back, and kept the timeline in my head. She tried for a new subject, birthday trips, gift cards. I let her talk. I held the bill and the detail. Office lobby, badges chirping, small talk moving past us. My phone buzzed with a bank alert. Riverfront Bistro deposit, 2 seats, Thursday. I asked what's Thursday at Riverfront. She said team drinks. I nodded once and watched the number settle in my notifications. Our neighbor rolled up with a latte and said you two should come walk the riverfront after work. I said could. She said calendars tight. He glanced between us, then at her phone, face down and quiet. He said rain check and drifted back to the mailboxes. I let the pause stay where it landed. Elevator opened. She didn't step in. Thumb moved fast. New reservation screen. Yoga drop in 2 stops from Forge Hub. She tilted the screen away like habit, not panic. She smiled thin, said busy week. I said noted. I asked need the charger tonight. She said it stays in my bag. Same charger, same Forge Hub tag tucked under a hair tie. Behavior steady, stories shifting. I kept my voice flat, said pace it how you want. A coworker passed and asked if everything was fine. I said smooth. She answered before me, said all good, then moved the charger deeper into the tote. The coworker caught the logo, looked at me, then away. Small things traveled faster than words. She said I'll be late Thursday, team stuff. I said I'm already covered. Her eyes clipped to my phone like she wanted a read. I didn't offer one. The lobby screen ran a Forge Hub banner, demo week, open floor. Her gaze skipped it, mine didn't. I told our neighbor to drop me the cafe he likes by the riverfront. He sent a pin near Forge Hub. She said don't wait up. I said I won't. Digital quiet between our screens. No shared calendar pings, just the bank line and the pin. She pressed the elevator button again, twice, like it would change something. I let her go up first. I stayed in the lobby, saved the pin, and set my route past the cafe. The cafe sat on the corner by the riverfront pin, lined to the door. She was already inside with a friend, 2 spots ahead. She didn't turn. The friend clocked me, smiled quick, then kept talking. She laughed about after hours at Forge Hub, said the charger saved you when the outlets were locked. She said sure and shifted her tote. The Forge Hub tag grazed the zipper before she tucked it under her arm. A small tell, not for me. The barista called next. She pretended not to hear. I stayed where I was and ordered water. No ice. She waited for me to say something. I didn't. Her phone lay face down on the counter, screen lighting for a second, not dead, then dark again. The friend filled the gap and asked if everything was fine. I said smooth. The room buzzed, small tables, laptops open. I said I might check out demo night there. She said do what you want. A couple at the window looked up, then back down. The friend's smile flattened, then she asked how long we were waiting. No one answered fast. The barista set 2 drinks for them. She slid a card across, eyes on the tip screen. I saw the same Riverfront merchant logo flash. Quick, then gone. She pulled the drinks, placed one in the friend's hand, held hers without sipping. I paid for my water. Coins in the tray, receipt back. I marked the time, Thursday, 6:12. Clean cut. She shifted closer than usual as they passed me, then stepped around, letting the friend go first. I let the pause stay where it landed. The friend said see you at Forge Hub, then looked at her like she'd said too much. She said it's just for a minute. I said noted. The barista asked if I needed a bag. I said no. She waited by the door like she expected me to follow. I took a step the other way and set a reminder for Sunday, her sister's barbecue. Digital quiet held, no calendar share, no ping. I didn't correct it. She said don't start making this a thing. I said I'm already moving forward. She blinked, then pushed the door with her shoulder, fast, like it mattered. The friend kept pace behind her. I stayed a beat longer, watched the Forge Hub flyer curl on the bulletin board by the trash. The logo matched the tag she hid. That was enough for today. I finished my water, saved the timestamp, and headed out to clear Sunday afternoon. Her sister's backyard was loud with plates and smoke. She pressed a white brick into my hand and laughed, glad this made it back after the mentor session. The tag read Forge Hub in blue. Same cord. Same knot in the rubber. My wife said it was nothing. I said noted. Cousins leaned in, read the tag, looked up at her. A wrist buzz lit her watch. She didn't check it. At dinner she guarded her phone. Here she treated pings like gnats. She poured iced tea like nothing needed attention. I set the charger by her plate and left it visible. Her sister slid a paper napkin under my elbow and whispered, check your DMs. Before dessert, the link landed, Forge Hub Demo Night, Thursday, Riverfront, 7 p.m., RSVP list already growing. She typed go if you're curious. I typed I support. I saved the date. No shared calendar, no invite sent back. My wife cut in with fast small talk. She pivoted to a new patio contractor, then a cousin's internship. She moved conversation away from the tag, almost choreographing who laughed where. I let the pauses land. When she finally leaned toward me, she said it's just networking. I said I already have the link. The sister passed the salad bowl and, without looking, said those demo nights get packed. My wife smiled cool and said we're not going. I said I'll pass through. The table quieted, not long, just enough to mark it. I rinsed my plate, wiped my hands, and took a photo of the tag against the napkin. Time. Date. Witnesses around us. She let the charger sit, then slid it into her bag without a word. Control drifted back to the grill and birthday candles. I kept the timeline and blocked Thursday night. Demo night ran loud and bright. I held the door, she walked in fast, lanyard already around her neck. Forge Hub banners filled the atrium. The charger tag on her bag matched the font on the stage screen, same stamp, same blue. I didn't say it. I just let my hand tap the tag once and kept moving. We claimed a high top near the back. She put her phone face down, crescent moon on the lock screen, 78% in the corner. She said it's just work. I said I'm here to support. A volunteer slid us wristbands and smiled past me to her. On stage, an old connection stepped to the mic, spotted her, called a nickname I hadn't heard in years. He waved her closer. She lifted 2 fingers, small hello, then drifted forward. His crew peeled off and met her halfway. Hugs, inside jokes, names tossed over me. No one asked who I was? I didn't fill it. I pulled the Forge Hub tag charger from her bag and set it by my elbow. The logo lined up with the banner across the room. My cable clicked into my phone. She glanced back, clocked it, and turned to the stage again. She said don't make this weird under her breath. I said I'm charging. The pause stayed. Friends from the birthday dinner slipped in on my left. They saw her get waved in with the crew. One of them said Riverfront's your second home now? I said we're passing through. They watched the front rows claim her. I ordered 2 club sodas so there was something in my hands and nothing in my tone. The mic guy said her nickname again and pointed at a live demo station. She moved where he pointed. The table clapped. She let the sound do the talking. I checked the time stamp on the event screen and took a photo of the banner with the tag in frame. Nothing dramatic, just proof of match. The friend beside me saw the charger and lifted his eyebrows. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. She came back long enough to say you good? I said I'm steady. Her mouth flickered, then she reached for her phone and left it face down. I saw do not disturb stay on. She'd said dead phone at dinner. Now it was just quiet by choice. Digital distance wasn't technical. It was policy. The crew guy tried to pull me into a circle with a chin lift. I kept my spot. She introduced him to the friend next to me before my name came up at all. The friend's smile thinned. She noticed the shift and laughed too big for the room. then pivoted back to the demo. Control moved to the stage and away from her story. I didn't compete. Our dinner group pinged a brunch thread while the Q&A dragged. He asked everything fine? I said locked in. She typed a response, stared at it, and set her phone down again without sending. I muted the thread for the night and slid the charger into my jacket. She watched the pocket, then chose the applause over the reach. The host announced an aftermingle. The room flowed front to back. I stepped sideways, let our friends face her first. One of them asked tomorrow at 11? I said I'll bring something. He looked at the charger and nodded. I left space between us and the door, enough for her to decide where she stood. I didn't rush her out. I didn't wait either. I held the line, and I carried the detail into the morning. Brunch ran loud. Our circle filled a long table. She took the end seat and set her phone face down by the menu. I sat across, jacket on the chair, charger in the inside pocket. The server poured coffee. She said he's spiraling over a charger and receipts. I said I'm steady. I took the charger out and set it by the bread plate. Forge hub tag up. The valet stub edge still tucked under the clip. I tapped the stamp with a finger. I said this matches Thursday's Riverfront deposit. The table went quiet on its own. She reached halfway, then didn't touch it. One friend picked it up, flipped the tag, read the imprint. He looked at me, then at her. He said, "Oh?" His posture shifted. The friend next to him caught that and stopped smiling. She laughed tight and said I read into nothing. I said I don't read, I log. I let the pause stay where it landed. The server asked about food. She ordered avocado toast like we always share, then didn't look at me. Behavioral contradiction hung there. She had shut down shared plans all week, but she ordered for two. I asked for eggs and kept the toast where it sat. A couple at the next table watched, then pretended not to. Small room pressure did the work. She tried a pivot. She said team drinks ran late, spur of the moment. Everyone ended up at Riverfront. I said your coworker called you by a nickname on stage, and the RSVP went in before lunch. Her jaw moved. She said doesn't mean anything. I said it means planned. The friend with the tag placed it down like evidence. Her phone buzzed under her hand. She didn't flip it. The screen showed do not disturb anyway. Another clue. A friend at the far end asked if we were good. I said I'm clear. She said he's making this a thing. I kept my eyes on the charger. I didn't chase her words. I pulled my phone out, checked the calendar, left the shared invites unopened. She watched my screen without leaning. She said, "Are you really doing this here?" I said I'm doing it clean. The group chat pinged, then pinged again. I kept my phone on mute and slid it away. Digital distance isn't loud, it's just a switch. The food landed. Plates clinked. She tried to lead conversation into vacations. No one picked it up. The friend who always does the birthday questions cleared his throat and asked me about the demo night instead. I said she had support. He nodded to me, not to her. Tone in the room moved a notch. I drew the charger back to my side and put it on the napkin. I said I'll step off shared plans for a while. Her fork paused. She said over a charger? I said over clarity. She said you're overreacting? I said I won't compete for it. I kept my voice level and my hands still. The server dropped the check between us. I slid it to the middle and told him split it. No performance, just math. She watched the slip like it might argue for her. It didn't. The friend who flipped the tag tapped his card first without speaking. I stood, jacket on, charger back in the pocket it started in. I told the table I'd see them around. She said we should talk after? I said schedule it with yourself. The neighbors sent a housewarming reminder to the thread. I didn't open it. I left them with their plates and a new rhythm, and I walked out steady toward the next invite I wouldn't share. The neighbor opened his door with a grin and a beer list. People I knew from the elevator clustered by the kitchen island. Music low, conversation stacked. She was already there, laughing with the host's sister, coat on a chair, phone face down under a napkin. I walked in steady, set a small envelope on the entry table. Car fob inside. The calendar access card on top. I tapped her shoulder. Handed both over without ceremony. She said you're overreacting? I said manage your own schedule. She said we can talk after this. I said I won't compete for clarity. The host watched the pass with the same look he gives a late package. Not annoyed. Not curious. Just noted. A group chat pinged across 3 phones at once. The housewarming thread. Her screen lit through the napkin. Banner flashed. Demo night follow-ups posted. RSVP timestamps visible. She flipped the phone face down again and smiled bigger than the conversation needed. The contradiction landed cleaner than anything I could say. A neighbor asked if everything was fine. I said it's organized. His eyes moved to the envelope. His nod moved to me. I pulled the Forge hub tag charger from my pocket and walked it to the coat room. There were labeled bags for keys and extras. I slid it into one with her name, tied the string, set it by her jacket. She had told me it stayed in her bag. It didn't now. She stepped in closer than usual. Close enough to be private but not hidden. Voice soft, timing tight. She said this is a lot over a logo. I said it's not the logo. She said then what is it? I said the planning. Another ping rolled through the living room. Someone said the afterparty looked packed. The host lifted a brow at her. She laughed, said it was random. The thread scrolled. Random didn't match the timestamps in view. I opened my phone, left the housewarming thread, then the shared calendar. One by one. No speech, just exits. The group felt the drop. 3 people glanced at their screens, then at me. Digital distance started where they could see it. The host offered me a drink on my way back. I said thanks, I'm good. He held the door while I slid my shoes on. I shook his hand. Clean, brief. She reached for my arm like she might pull me back into the room. I looked at the tied bag by her coat. She let her hand fall. She said don't make a scene. I said I'm leaving one. Phones lit up around us. Mine stayed quiet. Power moved with my exit. I stepped into the hall, nodded to the neighbor from 4B carrying ice up the stairs, and kept my pace toward Monday. Monday, building lobby. Delivery carts rolled past the front desk. A mutual friend angled his phone toward me, thumb on a post, her nickname tagged, wristband in frame, caption stacked with RSVP timestamps from midweek. He said this looked planned. I let the screen sit in my line of sight and didn't touch it. She came through the glass doors with her tote high on her shoulder. The Forge hub tag hung off the charger cord like a badge, half tucked, not hidden. She clocked the phone in his hand, then me. She said it was random. He said timestamps don't do random. I said keep me off the thread. He nodded to me, not to her. The front desk clerk pretended to staple papers and missed. Staples scattered. 2 neighbors slowed at the elevator and listened without turning. She laughed once, short, and went for small talk about the weather. No one fed it. Her screen lit with a demo chat preview. See you Thursday again. And she flipped it face down, the same move from the cafe, from demo night. Random kept showing up on a schedule. I pulled my phone, opened the courier app, tagged an envelope, spare keys, fob, garage clicker. Pick up to her office. Quiet motions. No announcement. The friend watched the form fields fill like he was reading a scoreboard. She said, can we talk tonight? I said my line is busy. She asked now then? I said I'm not on that channel. The clerk finally hit the staple right. He glanced at me with a small nod like he'd placed a bet, and it covered. Her jaw set for a second, then she shifted her tote higher. The charger tag flashed and disappeared against her coat. She said don't be dramatic. I looked at the board listing packages and called my name for one that wasn't mine. The clerk corrected me, clean, small reset. I didn't push for a save. He tilted his phone again, zoomed on the RSVP. 2 days pre-bistro. The table math from brunch lined up fast and simple. The circles group chat pinged on my screen. I muted the thread without opening it. She watched my thumb move and tried a smile like we were sharing the joke. I slid the spare key ring into the envelope, sealed it, set it on the counter. The friend stepped back to give me space I hadn't asked for. Waited silence. The kind that sets everyone's posture for the next thing. She said you're overreacting to a charger. I said I'm reacting to clocks. Small smiles thinned. The neighbor from 4B entered, saw us, said morning to me first. The power moved with the order. She tucked the charger deeper into her bag like it might quiet the room. It didn't. The courier pinged accepted. I handed the envelope across the counter and signed. Her text landed again. Can we please talk? And I let it sit under the mute banner. Digital distance wasn't threatened. It was installed. The elevator opened. People stood back. I stepped in, met the friend's eyes. He slipped his phone into his pocket, chin up once, done. I lifted a hand halfway, no wave, just a mark that we were finished here. The doors slid shut on her charger tag shining in the lobby light, and the thread still buzzing without me. I rode up and kept my pace.